the power of this technology goes so far beyond what like the typical like table conversation about VR gives it credit for. You know, like we talk about it as like a useful tool or an immersive, fun experience, but what we're talking about is like truly transformational.
It should be perfectly possible to trick your brain into any experience if your brain can already do that itself naturally. So VR is almost like taking that ability for our brain to generate any experience for us and like putting it in our hands, which is wild.
Man, that's something in the history books. People are going to look back and be like, yeah, 2022, 2023. That's when education, after hundreds of years, finally upgraded.
We're in a strange time where our physical worlds are intersecting with our digital identities, and right now is a time to kind of determine what you want that to be.
Once you have full body tracking that works well and it's frictionless, right? Meaning it's easy to do.
Yes.
It's a whole new, it's not a game changer, it's a whole new game.
So maybe there will be some other people who would be curious to see what I'm learning, what I'm discovering, so to say. And that's how the Discover YouTube channel started.
Oh, not really disco VR, Discover.
Oh.
Yeah, I feel bad when people ask me about VR, or they're like, what do you do? Like, all right, you asked, here it comes.
I love VR, but I love going out and breathing fresh air. And not only was I stuck in VR for 10 days, I was stuck in one room because I was streaming, the same space. I didn't see the sunlight. I totally lost track of what time everything was.
She dances with the robot. She does the first steps. She dances with that robot. She takes that thing off her face. I have the video. I'm holding it hostage. She takes it off her head and she says, I gotta have it.
There are a few moments in my life I can remember very vividly. The day I got married, the day my kids were born, the day Facebook announced that they bought Oculus is one of those days. I was making chili.
I've been in a lot of gaming communities, and the VR community is by far the best community that I've ever been involved with.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Between Realities VR podcast. It is, what is our tagline? It's the VR podcast from the philosophical gamer's perspective.
Yeah,
that's us.
Something like that.
That's us.
Sometimes it is.
Sometimes when we can get there, you know, can't always get there, but we like to. Mm-hmm. It's fun to kind of put that extra spin on the conversation about VR and AR, you know, the whole R in both of those things, the reality side of it, right?
Yeah.
We try to when we can. But
VR is pretty profound, man.
Yeah.
It's more than just games.
It totally is, but I could talk about games.
I love games.
Forever.
I love it. Love games.
Hey, hi. It's Friday. It is July 14th. It's 2:00 where we live. It's not where everybody lives, but it is where we are. 2 p.m. That's Pacific time. It's actually Mountain time, but it matches Pacific time right now. My name's Alex. I am one half of this amazing team that you see sitting before you. The other half, it's my homie.
Hey.
It's Skiva.
What up, dude?
Yeah.
How are you?
Pretty good.
Right on.
Yeah.
Good.
You know, things could be worse.
Glad it's Friday. And yeah, it's good. I'm looking forward to playing lots of games this weekend and getting into the show today.
Well, and you were gone last weekend. Right.
I was, yeah. I took my daughter to a concert in California and took her to Super Nintendo World and walked around Universal Studios, and it was super fun, man. We had a blast, and you know, seeing the look on her face and the smile when we walked literally right into a Mario game was.
Why aren't you my dad? Like, couldn't you be my dad?
No, son. Maybe. Maybe.
I mean, is that what it takes to get this kind of treatment? I have to be your offspring? I want to go to Nintendo World with you.
It was pretty fun, dude.
Well,
my second time in like 3 months.
That's seeing that right there. It's like almost enough for me to just go get in my car. It's like, what am I doing? What am I doing?
It's like a 5.5, 6 hour drive.
Yeah.
I
could get there easy.
Just go.
You're right. That's what I'm
Maybe
gonna
not.
do.
It's summer vacation. It is full and it's hot. But it's in lots of kids right now. Lots and lots.
Okay, fair enough. You're right. I should go on like the first day of school or something.
Yeah. When school's back, if you can, because you're not bound by those restrictions, you should definitely go on a weekday. Like no kids, everyone's in school, they're back. And
there's an AR element on this Mario Kart ride.
There is. Yeah, you get in a Mario Kart and you're racing the other people and you're shooting shells at the bad guys, at Bowser and his crew, and you're trying to beat the boss. It's really cool. It's like a HoloLens with a really big field of view. It's really good.
It's really good. I need it in my life, just like I needed this second cup of coffee today. Nice. I had a cup of coffee before I left, and I'm having another one right now.
Nice mug,
I don't
by the
normally
way.
do that. Thank you, man. Yeah. If y'all just get an eyeball on this mug real quick for a second.
It's pretty.
It's beautiful, and it's available right now for you. Oh my God.
On
and
Teespring.
your collection. Yes, on Teespring.
Or by becoming a Patreon.
Or that. Yeah, you can become a Patreon, and after you've committed for, I don't know, like a month or two, I forget what we do, we send you a mug or a t-shirt, depending on what level you've subscribed at. So keep that in mind, or just scoop up the mug out of the store, or a t-shirt. That's, in my opinion, like t-shirts are the thing, right? Like check out my new shirt. I've got the Hubris shirt that everybody else has right now, which I'm pretty excited about. There's this cool company called Impact Reality XR.
What? Who are they?
They're this amazing marketing company that have hooked it up, so I'm feeling pretty good in my Hubris shirt.
Nice.
Anyway,
very cool.
We can kind of start to get into things here today. This has been a nice pre-show banter.
Paradise Decay says, no, Skiba, you took yourself to Nintendo World. You damn right I did. Having a kid sometimes is a great excuse to do things like that. You're right, man.
I love it. Amen. Now I realize why I didn't go. I wouldn't have been such a good excuse if it was me that you were taking. But
I don't know. If you were going, you're like, Skiba, let's go to Nintendo World. Good enough excuse for me.
Yeah, wouldn't take much.
Yep.
Well, hey, PD. Thanks for being here, dude. Thanks for dropping that little nugget that we use in our intro video as well. I really appreciate that little moment that we had with you. And also the very first Paradise Decay interview of all time ever. So go back and watch that episode if you've missed it.
PD's such an amazing guy.
He is, and he's just one out of our amazing VR community that is just so fantastic to be around.
I know. How do we get so lucky?
I don't know.
Be part of such an awesome community.
I guess we all recognize that we all love the same technology, and we're a rare breed to have the kind of passion that we do, and that's why we connect so easily with everybody. Like Q Creator, who I have first in the chat, who says The Weekend.
Yep.
I mean, God, like, could I have said it any better? I don't think so. So, hey, Mike Newton, thanks for being here. Ooga Booga's in the house. Yo.
Ooga Booga.
All right. I'm into it. VR with Jasmine says, hello, friends. Hey, Jasmine.
What's up, Jazz?
Jasmine's
how's it going?
Killing it right now. She had her own Ashley on her podcast earlier in the week. Was that this week?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, she had Ashley Huffman from Titan Haptics on the show.
Oh, cool. Oh, Ashley Huffman's awesome.
Yeah.
All the Ashleys in this space are especially awesome.
We have some amazing Ashleys.
We do.
Yeah, we really do. Speaking of, but not yet. Laurel474 in the house. Hi. What's up, dude?
What's up?
Thanks for being here. Hello. And Assassin32 VR is here.
Hey.
Our good friend Chris Hanney from Space Pirate Trainer and Arena.
Hanney. What's up?
Can we please hang out one day, Chris Hanney? I would love that. Like, yeah, man. Just let me know when you're going to a thing, and I'll drop what I'm doing. Shut up. Shut up. I don't care. Duggars K is here. Merry weekend, one and all. Thank you, Duggars K. Paradise Decay, who we have already mentioned. And Brandon VR, who's been actively dropping codes in our Discord for multiplayer games, which I really, really appreciate, dude. Please keep that going, and I'm jumping into one of them.
That's beautiful.
Amelia Faust in the house. Thank you for being here. One of our loyal Patreons who I've been trying to give game codes to, but she has everything already. So just tell me what you're looking for, Amelia, and I'll try to hook it up. Classy Grandma is here. Hey, Classy Grandma. Just
What's
being
up,
so
classy? How are you?
Maybe she's drinking out of her Between Realities mug. Because I know she has one.
Oh, does she? That's pretty cool. Oh, man, I see someone in the chat I haven't seen in a hot minute who was actually a guest on our show some time ago and a very long time community member, which is Gaming Science Teacher.
Hey, what's up, GST?
What's up?
Good to see ya. Thanks for stopping by.
Heck yeah.
Loco Limbo's here as well, saying, what's the status of live audience plans and possibilities? I don't know what that means.
I don't know either. Live audience. Oh, we were totally going to do the thing with the live audience in Neos, remember?
Oh, is that what they're talking about?
Maybe. I don't know. Or maybe, I don't know. Is that what you guys are talking about?
If it is, you'll just
I
have
should
to
get back on that.
Yeah, check with us next season.
Yeah.
Kenzie Gaming is here. What's up, dude?
What's up, Kenzie?
Our Arizona homie.
Yeah.
Great to see you. Brand VR in the house as well. A little
What's
Michelle
up?
B, of course.
Hey.
Little virtual Steve.
Steve, what's up?
Master of Blender and AI image generation for his thumbnails.
Yeah.
Thanks for being here, bro. Space Denizens in the house. That's
Hey,
Void
man.
Citizen.
How are you?
You know that. Everybody knows that. Ryan B is here. Pumped for the stream today. Thanks, dude. Thank you. We're pumped too. Guido7335 says hello, everyone.
What's up? What's up, Guido?
What's up, Guido?
Guido's the man.
Hell yeah.
Such a sweet guy.
Hell yeah. Virtual Waypoint in the house as well. Laszlo216 saying boy howdy, and you know he's representing Cleveland right now.
Hey,
that's all he
Cleveland
does.
rocks.
Yes, it does. Destity11, what up, boys? Yo, what's up, Destity11? Good to see you. Little Wolf Raza in the house. Yeah.
Hey, Wolf Raza.
Blamed Access in the house. Yeah. Assassin 32, I think I already said, but I'll say it again. I don't care. Samson 143 VR. Yo, Samson.
Hey, Samson. How's it going, buddy?
To the moon, dog. Take me to the moon. I hope I'm not missing anything in the middle here. You know, my chat bounces around a lot.
Yeah.
Ashley C's here. Happy Friday.
Hey, what's up, Ashley?
Hi, Ashley. Thank you for being here.
Another awesome Ashley.
There's too many of them.
There are.
Too many amazing Ashleys.
I don't know. I could use a few more amazing Ashleys.
Well, you know, I mean, if they're anything like our current Ashleys, I guess I would be okay with it. Alexander Van Halen. Wow, the Alexander Van Halen. Thank you for being here in our chat. You're a legendary rock star. Saying, hey guys, what's up? Great show. Thank you. I really appreciate that. And Triwolf. Tribe Grey Wolf.
Oh, what's up, buddy? How are you?
It's good to see you. Yeah.
The homie right there.
Okay, so listen up.
Yeah, I'm listening.
Thank you for listening.
I am listening.
I just wanted to drink some more of this coffee.
I want everyone to hear how wonderful that coffee is.
Well, it's pretty good. It's pretty good.
I do like that coffee.
It works. You know, Skiva's got one of these like pod machines, like the Keurig, but it's not a Keurig, is it?
It is a Keurig, but it's like one of the best ones. Like brews right away. It's super fast. Yeah, it's awesome. Love it.
Yeah, I love it too. I was able to make this thing like in the moments before we started the show, and I'm grateful for it. And you know, maybe it's not the most economically or environmentally friendly.
I know.
All right,
it's not. I do feel bad about that.
You know, there's a couple of things like that in my life that I'm just going to enjoy. Like that, I'm going to enjoy these coffees. Or paper towel, bro. I'll admit, I am bad when it comes to paper towel.
Well, at least paper towels are biodegradable and they go back to where they came. A Keurig pod stays in the landfill way past when you're dead, when your kids are dead, their kids are dead, like until pretty much the end of time. So, you know, it's not great. I'd rather do paper towels.
It is what it is, I guess.
Yes, I don't know. I'm get better at being eco-friendly.
Yeah, you know, you got to pick your battles, man. And right now, I'm grateful for this coffee. So
well, good.
Sorry to all the sea turtles of the future. Ikuma Games is here. Riott is here as well. What's up, guys?
What's up, everyone?
Hussein X, of course. Thank you for joining us as well. Okay, so today's guest is...
Miss Grey Wolf says hi, too. Hi, Mrs. Grey Wolf.
Mrs. Grey Wolf. Hello, dear.
What's up?
You are very special to us.
Yes.
And I would never intentionally not say your name if I had an opportunity. All right, so yeah, today's guest is no stranger to the VR community. No stranger to the VR industry. Just no stranger.
No.
It's just not a stranger, which is amazing. You know, in my little description here, I say that Andromeda Entertainment prides themselves on bringing mindful and transformative VR content to the masses, which I think is amazing and be a perfect fit for our conversations that we like to have on Between Realities. Yeah. So without further ado, let's please introduce to Between Realities the COO of Andromeda Entertainment, Ashley Riott. Hello, Ashley.
What's up?
Hi. Oh my God, I made it. I'm here. I can't believe it. I've been watching this show for what seems like my whole life. So thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here. Hi.
Thanks for coming.
Hi, Leo. Hi, everyone. Yes. Hello.
So glad to have you here.
I'm also very nervous, and I'm like chugging cough drops because the smoke here is really bad. So my voice has kind of been in and out.
Oh, yeah, things are on fire, huh? Things are on fire over there.
It's rough up here. And also, I'm Mountain Time, and it's 3 p.m. So we are It is not 2 p.m. here. That was false news.
That's false.
You come from the future.
Wait, so where are you?
Edmonton, Canada.
You're in Edmonton, Canada.
Heck yeah.
I maybe noticed on the online social medias that you have become a recent citizen.
Yes, I just got my dual citizenship. Thank you so much for bringing it up, because I keep telling everybody, even if they haven't asked. It took 9 years. I was originally born in Houston, Texas. I immigrated to Canada in 2012, and I got my citizenship in March. So I now have both, and I got to celebrate my first Canada Day, and I went to Parliament, and when I went voting for the first time, and I told everybody at the voting place that I had just become a citizen, and they all cheered for me and let me put my ballot in myself. It was really cool. It was really cool.
That's amazing. That's such a big accomplishment. To become a citizen of a country is not easy. It takes a lot of dedication and hard work. And so congrats. That's awesome.
Thank you. It was hard. And, Canada is close to the United States, but Texas is really far. And so, my family was really far away. My whole family is in Texas. So they were really far, and it was pretty difficult. And yeah, it was a big moment. I didn't expect it to be as emotional as it was, honestly. I cried and everything. Yeah, it was a big thing. There was 86 people in my ceremony from, I think, 34 countries, something like that. It was pretty diverse, and a lot of people were crying.
Canada's pretty rad, so that's pretty good.
Why Canada?
I'd love to live there.
You went from Texas, which is the most American place in our beautiful country, and now you're in Canada. What brought you up there?
I met my partner playing World of Warcraft. So we met in 2009. The first time we met in real life was at the StarCraft launch, in 2009. I remember because I was supposed to go to the midnight release, and I had to miss it to pick him up at the airport, and I was really mad about it because I couldn't go get the game. But yeah, we met playing World of Warcraft. He's Canadian, so he imported me.
No way. You got imported. Yeah. Dude, World of Warcraft, bro. See what you're missing out on?
I know.
It can be done. Everybody that I know in real life, pretty much that I talk to on a regular basis, I met on the internet. My best friend in Australia, I met her playing Halo, and she hates when I tell people, but over 15 years ago, we met playing Halo.
Wow.
That is amazing. See what you've been missing out on, bro?
Dude, no, I know.
Your betrothed Canadian love could just be waiting in a dungeon for you. You could go find her.
I'm just terrified to lose so much time playing that game when there's so many VR games that I need to play, I have to play, and I really want to play. You know what I mean? And so, maybe one day I'll get into a little WoW, because it doesn't seem to be fading away.
I mean, yeah. Listen, if that day ever comes, all right, you come to your friends, you come to Alex, you come to Ashley. We'll make sure.
Yeah. What do you play, Alex?
Well, I haven't been playing lately, but I did play classic WoW for a while. I played vanilla, the classic vanilla. I mean,
Horde Alliance class. So I can judge you.
Most recently, I was playing Alliance. Most recently, I was playing Alliance, but I grew up as a Horde, and my last class was a Paladin. I was raiding with a Paladin as a tank, and really, really enjoyed it. I like the classic stuff. I'm not into modern World of Warcraft. The older, the better, and I was playing hardcore for a while, which basically means that if you die, your character just gets deleted. It's gone. So it's really, really high stakes. And I was playing with a couple of buddies. We died in our level 20s. And then by then the official hardcore servers had gotten announced. So I haven't been back since then. And I'm guessing when the hardcore servers go live,
That's rad. I really like mechanics like that. I love legit consequence in games, and so that's really cool.
Me too.
Speaking of consequence in games, one of my very favorite VR games of all times, which I'm sure everybody knows, is the Escape from Tarkov game Ghosts of Tabor, and the CEO just dropped in the chat, Scott Albright, and dropped $100 super chat. My guys have a great show. Thank you so much, my dude.
Scott.
Yeah,
thank you, man.
Thank you.
I had no idea Proper was working on that game. I feel like I'm so behind. I need to message him. I've known him for a very long time.
Man, he is, dude. Proper D is just such a sweet guy, and is one of the best video creators and media people I've ever known. People man, people just don't do the things that he's able to pull off. You know, he's a very, 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 very talented, and now he's bringing that into really awesome VR games. So yeah, I love it. I love Ghost of Tabor.
$100
really
super chat from Scott from Combat Waffle Studios.
Boom.
Dude,
amazing.
That is amazing.
That is.
Well, like, what are we gonna do with that?
We can give him a double confetti for that.
Yeah, give him. And you know what?
There's another one. Oh, wrong button. Wrong button.
Listen to this, everybody.
Did I get a complimentary?
Do you hear this, everybody? I finally forced Skiva to lower the volume of our air horn. So if you're out there and you have
hit me.
Yeah,
he did.
He talked back, and that's what happens. I told you. So when the air horn, if you have thoughts about the air horn, go ahead and feel free to let us know.
Is that too low now?
No, it's not. I think before it was like jarring,
but
especially
it's an air horn.
Well,
it's like when has anyone ever honked like an air horn? And like, oh, that was nice on the ears.
When has anyone ever enjoyed that? That's the problem. It's like,
true.
No one likes
that.
I don't
know, you're at a hockey game or something, and people are like, they're stoked. Yeah, air horns.
Or you're like just like driving home from your commute on work and you're listening to the audio version of this, and then out of nowhere, air porn. Nice. That's like twice as loud as our conversation comes blasting through.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we've lowered the volume. I hope you all enjoy it.
Yeah. Let us know if you care. If you care, let us know.
Ghost of Tabor, amazing game.
It really is. It really is. Ghost of Tabor has made it so I have played very few other games in my VR life. Usually I play tons of games. People, companies send me codes all the time. I get in all kinds of games, and Ghost of Tabor has like just sucked all of my VR time away. But it's amazing, and they keep improving it, and they keep making it better and upgrading things. And there's new maps coming, and there's new bunkers coming, and new guns, and like it's just so cool, man. I just freaking love that game.
Proper is incredible. Like he's unbelievably good at games. When I first met him, it was at the VR World Finals. I was doing talent management for an esports team, and so we had 5 teams in the finals in like 5 different games, so like Echo Combat, Space Junkies, Echo Arena, Pavlov, and there was another one of the
great
the
games.
Counter-Strike.
Yeah.
Bunches of games, and Proper's team I think took us out in a couple of events, but they were there and he partied with us and like closed out the club, and he still like just destroyed the next day. And he was also like one of the top pistol whip players, which maybe a lot of people don't know, but he's got a style named after him.
Really?
Which is Proper Legacy. So when the style system like kind of got released, we named a bunch of the styles after players and like their preferred kind of way to play. And so it's dual wield, Deadeye, so like no aim assist, because that's how I used to play. And he was one of the main dual wield people, and it's called Proper Legacy, and it's named after him. So he's amazing at games.
He is amazing. I mean, anything I've ever seen him at, he's dominated. We did a contractors tournament. Not that
contractors. That's what it was.
Yeah, and he just came in and he just destroyed everyone. It was amazing. He's really talented. And who else is talented is Scott Albright, the CEO. Came in. He was an Army Ranger, and came in and brought all that gun knowledge and all that combat knowledge into the game and made something so special. Brought this team together of amazing people and just did something so cool. So love the people over at Combat Waffle. Good stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So, and it's pretty cool. You were a part of the Cloudhead team for a while there, and kind of got to contribute. Yeah,
like 18 plus months. I was social community. I did some narrative design. I worked on like prologue and some of the narrative for Smoke and Thunder in 2089. I did a lot of the styles and destinations work. So for like the first 60 weeks of styles, I helped kind of come up with them and how they would work. And that was when the destination system was like kind of being made, and would test them and like post the scores in Discord, kind of ran the Discord community, did all the socials and the PlayStation blogs and things like that. But that, it was like such a dream, right? Like what an amazing game to have a chance to like dabble and be able to mess around in. So yeah, really from the time Pistol Whip was doing single song updates until the end of 2021, I did community and social for them, community social marketing stuff.
So Pistol Whip is in my top, I don't even know. Top 3, top 5 VR games of all time.
Top 3?
Yeah, dude, I love.
No way.
I
top 3.
love Pistol Whip. It's close. Maybe top 5. I don't know.
Top 10.
There's so many. No, it's definitely up higher for me because
it's so OG.
It's
like,
so
it's like,
OG. It's so good.
OG, and I'm so biased, but like the team is so brilliant. Yeah. Anyway, go ahead. You can keep going.
No, for real. There's few games that make me feel so badass as Pistol Whip does, and it's not just that. It's like it's cool music. You're going to a rhythm, like you're shooting people to a rhythm. You feel like John Wick with headphones on. Mm-hmm. It's absolutely wild, and it's just so good. Everything about it is just killer. It helps you get a little bit of exercise. Man, it's just so good. I can't say enough good things about Pistol Whip.
And that game just made such a splash. Like everybody was just like looking for that next game. Yep. And when Pistol Whip showed up at OC6, everybody lost their minds. Everyone's like, yes! Oh my god!
Seeing people play it and being like, what are they playing? They look so cool. Right? Because like at the time, nobody looked cool really playing VR, and I was like, man, that looks so cool. And it was such an amazing game to work on because I got to work with like amazing artists. I got to like interview some of our voice actors. I actually helped find the comic book artist that did the cutscenes, Fico Ocio.
Oh, cool, yeah.
So I got to interview him and work with him on the prologue and stuff like that. It was just that game, and it is so artistic, right? Like it's so creative, and it is a big team, and so it's really, really cool to watch. The more I learn about making games, the more flabbergasted I am that any game ever releases, let alone makes any money, because it is just the most unbelievable process. And when you have a bunch of really creative, really intelligent people working together on something, and watching that kind of build up and become a thing is just, I'm super grateful. It was an awesome 18 months. And the community as well, they were heroes, right? Like they were they made my job so unbelievably easy. They did amazing things all the time. They would surprise me with videos and gifts and messages, and they would send me music suggestions all the time, and I would make playlists of I tracked every suggestion, every playlist suggestion, and had a list of playlists and gave it to the dev team. And that community was amazing.
I mean, and not a small one either, right? Like how many people were in the Discord when you were managing the socials?
We actually had about 5,000 to 6,000, but we had a very active Discord, and we had a lot of people who were like in the Discord and then doing stuff in the game. And so we had a very solid group of, diehards that participated in the community. So they made it easy. They moderated themselves. I don't think I ever banned anyone permanently. I didn't. I know for a fact I never banned anybody from the server. Nobody that ever participated. We banned bots that came in and just spammed. But anybody that ever had come in and participated, we never permanently banned.
Well, that's nice of you, because I don't have much of a tolerance when it comes to nasty people. And when I worked at Vertigo,
you're banning people like crazy.
There was a few times where they were like, "Hey, can you maybe give people a little more slack?" I'm like,
no, not doing it. I think a lot of times people want to know. A lot of times people don't know what's wrong.
Yeah,
right? And so a lot of times, if you tell them, or communicate, hey, or a lot of times people are testing whether or not the community is safe, right? They want to know what behaviors are okay, but like also I talk about this a lot, but what is not okay, like what's going to get them kicked out. And if you don't say, hey, look, this isn't okay. Now, that being said, I've done temporary bans. I've reached out to people and said, hey, look, we want you to be a part of the community. You mean a lot to us, but the number one rule is to be excellent to each other. And if you can't do that, we're going to have to remove you. It's going to be 24 hours this time, but I'm going to let you come back in good faith that you're going to be a contributing member. And almost always they come back. And in some cases they come back and they are more excellent than most of the community members. They just wanted to know, like, how do I belong? And, sometimes they just need to be told, here's what's okay, here's what's not. And then they will model that, right? If you show them how to.
What percentage of the community do you think was under 18?
Oh gosh, we had such a massive spread. When I'm marketing games, generally I'm always marketing to 35 to 45. You'd be surprised. Generally the audience is older. And if it's not older, the people that are buying all of the games or asking to buy the games are, those are the people that are making the purchasing decisions. But for Pistol Whip, they ranged. I would say most of them were over 18, but we definitely had some high school students. that's about as far as I know for their age, because they talk about their classes. We didn't really talk too much about. We were always a PG, like family-friendly game. We tried to stay T for teen. I try to keep my communities whatever the game rating is. That makes things easy for the community manager. And so I didn't really have to worry too much about, having a not safe for work channel or having an 18+ channel and figuring out whether or not people fell into that. But we also had like these hardcore like adults that they were like army dude. I mean, like our top players were athletes. Like they were like proper, right? Like you have to be physically fit. They would send me videos of them like rolling around on the ground and like just like in combat stance and like core muscles working. And those guys were like ex-military and stuff like that. We had a lot of gun aficionados because Pistol Whip with Deadeye off. I'm like just advertising Pistol Whip instead of Andromeda.
I know. We'll get to it.
We will get there.
It's a great game. But, when you're moving around like that, you have to be physically fit. So I was going to say with Deadeye on without the aim assist is quite strong. But without the aim assist, it's very close to shooting. And so we had a lot of people who would like shoot a game and then go to the shooting range. And I'm sorry if I'm not allowed to talk about your game, but I am talking nicely about it. But no, it's a great game. The community there really, we just focused on being a hero, right? And that's something I talk about in community building a lot. If you decide from the get-go how you want people to like label themselves, symbolism and membership identity is a very important thing. It happens no matter what. And so how you talk to people determines how they talk to each other. And so I was really intentional with the hero tag and the action hero tag and speaking to the community in that way, because you're far more likely to respect each other when you consider each other heroes versus if you're calling each other terrorists or noobs or whatever you can have your ranking be. Same thing with symbolism. Symbolism is going to happen no matter what, like, emojis and things like that. They transcend a lot of barriers, language barriers and things like that. They communicate a lot of information very quickly. And so if you pick positive emoji and things like that you are constantly posting and reacting with, then your community mirrors that because they look up to you and you parrot people that you like. And so you can actually have a massive effect, a profound effect on how your community interacts and how they act towards each other, just based on how you act. So be the community you wish to see for your game, basically.
That's amazing. I love that. So community management is a very, very hard thing to do. I've done it for Vertigo Games, and after the fall, I work with some of the Ghosts of Tabor community management stuff on their Discord, which has like over 50,000 members, and it's absolutely insane over there. Love it. But it's one thing to have a community in a multiplayer game where people are going in there looking for other people to play with. It's a completely different ball game to manage a community of people and keep them engaged when it's a single player experience, right? So like how did you keep people engaged and coming back when they weren't there to find people to play with?
I would say it's almost harder when you're doing a multiplayer game because you have to worry so much about trust and safety. Yeah. And you have to worry so much. I've done a lot of consulting with some of them. I won't say any names because I'm under NDA, but I've done some consulting with some multiplayer games, and there's some really serious issues that you have to contend with, and I'm just very glad that I don't have to deal with that stuff. But you look at those universal elements of community. I actually did a talk in 2021 for DevCom that's on Twitter. I can repost it, called like building positive communities, and it talks about these like universal elements of community that all communities have them from like the dawn of time, and that's things like symbolism, membership identity. In order to the more you need to understand about the community to have the membership identity, the deeper you feel involved in it, right? So like those words like saying flat and pancake and us knowing what that means signifies a membership identity between us. Symbolism is a big thing. We know what the meta symbol is, but if you look at, I always talk about the church. The church is the oldest community that exists. They do all of the universal elements of community. They have symbolism. They have routine, so this is a big part of it, and they have a temple. And so your game is always going to have a temple. That's a place where your community members meet, and they talk about the thing that they love. They connect about the thing that they love. Usually that's about your game, and you determine what that temple is. Usually in today's arena, it's Discord, right? Discord's your temple. That's where everybody goes. That's where all your signposts point to. And then it's your job to come up with a routine or a ritual. The church meets every Sunday. They have, prayer service. I'm using the church generally speaking. They have prayer service every Sunday. You know that if you go there, you're going to connect with other people who are like-minded, and you're going to discuss something that you care about. If your thing is for A lot of our games, we have a question of the day or a question of the week. And so that's a thing that they know they're going to come back to. The developer is going to be there communicating, participating in it. They look forward to it. With Pistol Whip, we did destinations at a set time. We did it every Thursday because that's when Meta updates their games. And so I wanted the community to kind of be trained to look forward to updates and information on Thursdays. So we would update our challenges on Thursdays as well. And then I added layers onto that. So if you got top 10 in the challenges, you got posted with a special tag on Discord that lasted a week. And, when I first started that, a lot of it's quiet work. I preach this a lot. Like, you don't need 100 people doing it because community follows the Parada principle. 20% of your community does 80% of the work. So if you're reaching that 20% and making them feel heard, you're building loyalty, you're building, this relationship. So setting up a routine, setting up a ritual, whatever that looks like. If it's coming into Discord to play together, if it's asynchronous commitments where you're seeing who can burn the most calories, if that's the type of game that you have, if it's seeing who can defeat a puzzle the quickest and talking about that, whatever that looks like and whatever that cadence looks like, just making sure that it's regular so that people have a reason, right? Why do you go back to a community every week? What do they offer you? And what is it that your game, what do people want to connect over with your game? That looks completely different for every single game. But yeah, it's almost easier. It's easier because you can do offsites, you can meet at conferences. If I was a game, all my community would hopefully be in this chat. That's another thing that I feel like I'm talking a lot, but that's the point, right?
No, it is. I was just thinking, how is that for an answer, Skiva? You ask a question and you got an answer.
I love it. This is good stuff.
The other thing is community narrative. Community is this agreement. People have to be like, hey, yeah, I know what it takes to be in this community. I want to be in it. Let's do it. And then they're in your community. Unless you have that first person who's bought in, you don't have a community. It's just you and the thing that you like or the thing that you're making. And so once that happens, you have started a story together. And how much you involve people in that community narrative and how much you make them feel like they're involved dictates what that looks like. But you're going to go through it no matter what. You're going to have a chapter 1 where you launch. You're going to have chapters where you do hot fixes. You're going to have chapters where hopefully you sell 1 million copies. And, that's going to happen no matter what. And how you, build your marketing plan and your community plan around that will kind of reflect what that story and what that history looks like. That's actually my favorite part.
Nice.
Building a community.
Yeah. And we were at AWE a couple months ago, and you gave an absolutely incredible talk about building community. It was really, really good. I learned a ton. You're definitely one of the best in the biz when it comes to this. So thanks for sharing this information.
Thank you. I'm giving that talk at DEF CON this year. A very
nice. One. Cool. Yeah,
so
hopefully see you there.
Be a DEF CON. But thank you. I mean, I feel like I learn so much from everybody all the time. I learn from you guys as well, right? I'm in these multiplayer servers. I'm in between realities. I'm watching the way that you build community. You're doing it really well, right? You've got a very good ritual. People are coming together. They're literally watching your content on this cadence every week. And you can see how it builds, this narrative between them. And that grows over time, right? The more conferences you go to where your audience is connecting with you, you're just adding chapters to, that kind of community narrative. And that's the part that a lot of people don't like to hear when they ask me for marketing consulting is it takes work, right? You have to put in the work that you want your best community member to do. You have to be that. Otherwise, how can they know what to do? Yeah. And that's a lot of work.
That is. It's a ton of work. Marketing is a lot of work. Building community is a lot of work. Getting people to connect. There's a lot of work.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I mean, people who are good at it make it look easy.
I know.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know.
And then you go do stuff and you're like, wait a second. How come no one's talking in my Discord? What the hell? A few friends have joined us since we've been up and running here. James is in the house. It's good to see James. J Brat VR stopping in.
What's up, J Brat?
Getting things done. That's Jay Dunn.
What's up, Jay Dunn?
Get him to the Metaverse podcast. He's the true homie.
Heck yeah.
Gamertag VR also stopping.
What's up, GT?
Stopping by
How's it going?
Our valiant leader of the VR crew cast that we did yesterday.
Nice. Yeah.
Good to see you all.
Yeah. So, Lariel, do we mention?
Yeah. I caught him earlier, but let's mention him again. What's up, Lariel?
What's up?
Yo, good to see you, dude. Okay, Ashley. So you did 18 months at Cloudhead Games, and then your cat showed up and ruined everything. Right? Yeah. So how did that end? Did you have another opportunity? Did they give you the boot? What happened?
Well, it's actually interesting. I actually started as a streamer in the VR world.
Wait a second.
So
VR with Jasmine. Hi, Jasmine.
Hey, what's up, Jasmine?
I caught you earlier, but I see you here now, and I just can't leave you hanging, girl. All right.
What's up?
So there we go. Now that we've acknowledged Jasmine, let's please continue.
I also wanted to say I went to Lego World, and you literally have to bring a child. So I brought my sister to AWA with her niece, and I was like, so since you're here. And it was really me going to Lego World, and I was actually just using her. But I had the best time.
Nice.
I don't know what you mean at all.
I need a child to exploit, like now.
Like, they won't let you in unless you have somebody under 17. That is.
Is that real?
Yeah. I mean, I get it because it's actually very much for children. The Legos are really fun.
Yeah,
and like, I think it would be weird if there were adults in there, but I don't know. It looked like a lot of fun even without the child, but I would say it was a lot more fun with her than it would have been without her. She made it 100% better.
The magic of children's imaginations.
Yes.
It really is.
Hey, Brand VR, good to see you, dude.
Legos and we couldn't leave. Sorry, go ahead.
I'm just saying hi to Bran also. All right, so 18 months at Cloudhead, it all came crashing down. How did this happen?
Crashing down. So actually, so at first, I actually practiced retail pharmacy for 14 years. I used to always want to be in games. I've always been a writer. I was told you cannot do that. You need to do something that makes money. I went to pharmacy school. I practiced pharmacy. I was training for a marathon. I took a step and one of my discs collapsed and I lost complete use of my left leg. I was in a walker full time for 7 months while I was waiting for surgery.
Damn.
I had no use of my left leg.
Damn.
Yeah, it was wild. It was I went from being very physically capable to not being able to take a shower, to not being able to drive. I was a hardcore raider. I couldn't sit at my computer and play World of Warcraft anymore. So my WoW group started this like movie club, and every like Friday we'd all watch a movie and we'd pick a movie and we'd all like rotate, but they'd all get together and watch a movie with me because like all I could do was lay in bed and watch movies.
That's really nice.
It was really sweet. I still talk to them. I think some of them might be in here. I love you if you are. So I had surgery in the spring of 2018. I had a Rift at the time. I had bought a Rift when it came out because of the gaming thing. And I started physiotherapy, and I hated physio. It was this horrible shambling walk with my walker outside. I'd always put it off, if the weather was bad or if my head space was bad. And my doctors were like, you need to start doing something. And so I said, well, can I play Beat Saber? Beat Saber just come out. It was the spring of 2018. All of, the VR people were playing it. And I wanted to try it out. And my surgeon was like, I guess, as long as you use good form and you've got kind of a support nearby. And so I started by playing one song of Beat Saber a day, and then two. And then, when I could play for an hour, I was like, I got to stream this to people who have never seen this technology. And I said to my partner, you're going to have to trust me, because I could see the future. And I could see that this was what I was supposed to do. I had gone into pharmacy to help people, but this VR was the future of physio, healthcare, education, gaming, socialization. I still to this day believe that head-mounted displays are the future of computing. I think that, I don't know that it's going to look like this. I think that kind of how we have AirPods will be, we'll have AR glasses, and most people will have that. And then the real aficionados, how people have the Beats Pro and they have the real audio files. That'll be the VR guys. We'll have the thing that you unplug when you want to get into a VR experience. But I think for most people, frictionless. But I do believe head-mounted personalized agents will be the future of computing. And I could see that then, and I have felt crazy for 5 years, but I said, I'm going to take a leave of absence. You're going to have to trust me. This is what I was put on the planet to do. I said those words.
Boom.
And I said, in 2 years, I'll be making more in pharmacy than I'm making in making more in VR than I'm making in pharmacy. And so I left in 2018. I started a stream. I streamed Beat Saber full time. For many, many months. It was the hardest job I've ever had. It's a big part of why a lot of my marketing is very influencer heavy and grassroots. And, I know how difficult the technical requirements are to make VR look good. And they're not just hard, they're ever changing and agile. So I did that for many months. I actually had Audio Trip on my podcast. And they said, are you doing this whole podcast by yourself? And I was like, yeah. And they said, well, do you want to come help us launch our game? I said, yeah. And so I did that. And then I had Cloudhead on my podcast. They were about to launch Pistol Whip. And the same kind of thing happened. The community manager at the time, Anthony, reached out and said, hey, you should apply. I'm moving into a game designer job. You should apply for this job. I talked to Audio Trip and said, I was in Canada still at the time. Cloudhead is a Canadian studio. Audio Trip is a USA studio. So I talked to them, and, they were indie. We had very little runway at the time. It was super hard. We had many long nights of I feel like I have to do this. It's a great opportunity. It's Cloudhead. You know, they had done Heart of the Emberstone, Call of Starseed. They were Canadian. I did a 3-month notice. I did contract at Cloudhead for 3 months where I worked part-time at Cloudhead and launched Audio Trip on Quest. So I actually did both of them at the same time.
Wow,
to make sure that they were taken care of. And then I worked at Cloudhead for the 19 months. And then I actually went back to Andromeda. So as much as it's amazing working on like the single like game with that, you know, that high selling, the constantly updating, almost a live service type of game, at Andromeda, kind of we consider ourselves almost I want to be like the Devolver of VR. I want to make a lot of indies a lot of money, you know. So I actually came back. And so I went full circle. I kind of went to Cloudhead for 18 months, then came back to Andromeda, started here as Senior Director of Marketing in January 2022. And then in March of 2022, I proposed and initiated a new porting agreement / kind of way that we do business. I think we might have been the first people that did it, because it was kind of like just an idea that I had. A lot of people were coming to me asking me about, you know, going to Pico and going to China. And so I said to our CEO, we just need to help people do this. Like, we can do this. We've been in China a long time. We know the ropes. We can help them launch onto Pico and Aichi and YVR at the same time. They're not going to get taken advantage of. It's like the wild, wild east out there. You know, there goes my voice is going. And so we started this kind of porting platform specific agreement where we don't touch your game on the other platforms. You know, I want you on Meta. I want you on PlayStation. If you're doing that stuff and you've got it, fine. I don't need to touch it. But let me help you do China. Like, let me help you get into these other markets. And so we increased our games from 3 to 9 between March and December. And then this year we signed an additional 6 games in the first 6 months.
Hell yeah. Very 500%.
Nice. Yeah. So we've got one of the things I'm proudest of is all the games that we work with have signed for more contracts or have asked us for additional partnerships. I genuinely just want to get VR. Like, I talk about VR like it taught me to walk again, because it did. And I just really want to get people, I want to make people as much money as I can. And if if it's not with me, then that's fine. But that's kind of what I do now. And I feel so lucky, like, every day. And I've been talking for 25 minutes straight. So I'm sorry if that's a lot.
No, this has been good. I like money, by the way. I think making a lot of money is good. That's a pretty awesome thing. And if you have extra, you just let us know. We can help.
If you're making a game, and you know, that's all I want to do. I really believe this platform is the most ridiculous thing. And like, I also think that because everybody's going to be on it in 10 years, we have a deep responsibility to the medium to lead in a responsible, ethical way as transparently as we can, because the choices that we make today could have drastic consequences in 10 years.
Amen.
You know,
and
it's I said this at Reboot. I did a talk on, you know, XR applications, but it is better to, you know, wisely and slow, they stumble that run fast. You know, we can't risk ruining public perception. We can't risk mass adoption. I love the medium so much that I want to help it grow as much as I can.
So
hallelujah.
Amen, for real. Yeah. And, you know, and like I said earlier, you know, Andromeda kind of priding themselves on releasing these like mindful and transformative VR experiences. I'm sure that is like kind of a part of what you're talking about right now. And what does it mean for a VR experience to be mindful or transformative?
Oh, gosh, there's so many different ways. So our flagship title was Soundself, which was a technodelic experience. You actually used your voice to control the game and move through virtual environments in a kind of toning way. And it was, I think, visionary and way ahead of its time. There are a lot of issues with a game like that, though, because people want to use external sound devices to get the best experience, and then you just run into like troubleshooting. But we did a bunch of studies on it. The Neuromeditative Institute, I believe, did a study on it with EEG tech and found that it had similar effects to drugs, and basically that it helped with anxiety and depression and your mental state. Our second game, Audio Trip, is a duo in love. So Brady worked at Alchemy, and Cooper was an architect and a professional dancer. She had a knee injury. She was told she would never dance again. They met, fell in love. She wanted to make this dancing game, so she creates the environments and does all the dancing, and he codes the game. When they first made the game, it was just about making you feel and embody music. We didn't even have scoring. And it went into testing, and people were like, okay, but like, how did I do? And we were like, oh, I guess we should probably add a score to the game. But originally the game was just to make you feel this power of movement and embody the physical movement. Solar Black was the next game that we had these were all traditional publishing agreements. Solar Black was the next one that we had a traditional publishing agreement with. He's a solo developer from Vienna. He's also a university professor. And so when he pitched to us, he pitched it as his magnum opus of he created this in COVID. That's Audio Trip there. Amazing game. There's Anna Byrne as well. Awesome content creator. She did that trailer. But he pitched it to us as he had started to create this game during COVID as a way to make it through COVID. He created all of the music, all of the assets, all of the level, everything. And his true calling is teaching. And he teaches game design to university students. And he actually uses the game to do that. And so most of his proceeds go back into teaching, go back into this game. And his whole purpose is really just passing on and educating. And that really spoke to us, because he's just this solo dev with a dream, and he's, bettering the world. And emergent strategy, individual changes cause these ripples. Another one of our another studio of that we represent, I hate to say of ours, that we're partnered with and that I am unbelievably lucky that they trust me with their incredible games is Rotu. They do Ionia and Eolia, which are rhythm games. And that team is unbelievably incredible. They all went to school at Berkeley together. They're musicians, but a portion of their proceeds actually are donated to charity organizations. Jason Parks, the CEO of Rotu, will actually be at Games for Change next week. So if you're in New York and you want to check that out, let me know, please. It's going to be a really cool workshop.
We've had Anna Byrne and Jason Parks as guests on our show.
Yeah, they're both wonderful.
Yeah, Jason Parks is amazing. And
such an awesome guy.
I really appreciate how Andromeda kind of has this common thread that exists throughout all of these titles that you're talking about. And I want to talk a little bit about Soundself, because I find this experience to be very, very unique. Like you said, Ashley, it's a bit ahead of its time. And, a big theme for our conversation on the show last week was vulnerability. And this game, or this experience, I guess I'll call it, made me feel more vulnerable than any other VR experience I've ever done. And I know a lot of people struggle with this feeling of vulnerability when they put a VR headset on, like normal people, you put Aunt Betty into the thing and she puts it on. She's like, oh, I don't want to look weird. This is kind of something that Skiva talks about regularly. But I definitely am glad no one was home when I was doing Soundself, because it is transformative and it is very much like meditation. And I even had a couple of moments that started to emulate or feel like out of body experiences, because the visuals really connect with the audio. And then when your voice is being picked up by the microphone, it's also very connected to everything
within yourself. You are immersed in yourself. You are controlling the experience. And what I'm really excited about, and that vulnerability, I love this stuff, right? I could talk to you guys about this for 2 hours, but when you start to add this to other biometric data, and I talked about this a lot in my reboot talk, but when you start to add it with your brain waves and your heartbeat and the pulse and that type of stuff, the level of immersion and vulnerability and connecting to yourself that you have is so profound. And that is the stuff I cannot wait to have out in the world.
Well, and for a lot of people who play physically active games like Beat Saber, I think is a perfect example. You might start getting gassed halfway through the song, but because you're immersed and because you're connected to it, you just push through and go beyond your typical barriers or your typical stopping points. And I found that to be the case for me in Soundself. I was immersed in for a while, basically if you go into this experience, they have you doing ohms. You just get in there and you're just
Yep, the game was inspired by a group at Burning Man.
Yes, that doesn't surprise me at all. And we'll get into more Burning Man stuff too, because I want to pick your brain a little bit about that. But basically I signed up for you can pick your level or how long you're in there for, and I was 15 minutes or half hour. I think I just went straight into the half hour for my first time, and I had the vocal fortitude for probably about 10 to 15 minutes of this, and then after a while I'm trying to hit that like same decibel, same decibel and like connect with the song, but like my voice starts going like halfway through my full expression, and it's just like breaking and like squeaking and coming unglued. And like I can only imagine what that must have sounded like to like a fly on the wall. You know what I mean? Like vulnerable for sure.
And it's almost the exact opposite of what we were talking about earlier, where you feel cool. This game does not make you feel cool, but it affects you in ways. And, you know, sometimes that's what we need. And there's a future where you can actually control people, like you can control that experience. So let's say that we've got you hooked up to Galia, you know, the one from OpenBCI with all of the EEG and the EKG and the heart wave and the brainwave. And you know when somebody's afraid or when somebody's in peak, and you keep them there, right? Like, you know how to stimulate, you know how to keep the ohm there, you know how to bring them into peak flow, into peak. Or if you're playing a physical fitness game, keeping somebody's heart rate exactly where you need it so that they're, you know, burning fat, and you will have that sort of biometric instant real-time data. And there's a lot of risks with that, obviously, as well. That type of data is basically medical grade and incredibly private and confidential. But you can do really, really cool transformative stuff if you can connect with people in real time in that sort of deep physiological way.
Yeah. Somebody in the chat mentioned that Soundself is not on Steam. Is that true?
It's no longer on Steam, actually. So it's kind of sad that we're talking about it now. We actually so when Soundself first came out, it got released and it was on Steam and it was under Andromeda Entertainment. And then we started getting a lot of inquiry and interest from therapists and from the medical side of VR. Sorry, my throat is killing me, so I've got a cough drop. From therapists and, you know, doctors' offices, and they wanted an entirely different set of features. They wanted to be able to talk to people in the headset. They wanted to be able to control the headset externally. Whereas when you're a player and you're inside, you don't want that. And so actually Andromeda split into two companies, and one was Entheo Digital, is our sister company, and the CEO founder at the time of Andromeda became CEO of that company, and that was Robyn Arnott, the creator of Soundself. And then John, the CEO of Andromeda, took Andromeda, and we went more games, and we took Soundself game side. And recently, we actually just this year finally made the decision that Soundself is ultimately going to be a therapeutic tool. It has been moving forward in that way. They have found success in that avenue. There is some really cool stuff that they're offering, you know, medical side. But it's a whole other device world as well. There's like a vibrating bed that goes with the experience too, so it's even more immersive. But at the end of the day, it was really hard, but we believed that was the ultimate iteration of what Soundself should have become. And so Robyn wanted to, you know, be able to develop it and bring it to this kind of way where it could be this therapeutic tool and kind of help people unlock, which is what he ultimately wanted. So it's technically still in our sister company and is still with Robyn, the founder, who is still a majority owner with Andromeda, but it's only going to be medical and therapeutic. That being said, it's not completely gone. So if you're interested and you want to build or anything like that, you can always DM me and I can hook you up and make sure that you're able to play it.
Nice. You hear that, people? Yeah. Take her up on that if you're actually interested in this, because it is a pretty unique VR experience.
It is. It's really cool.
Yeah,
it's just super trippy. You connect with yourself in a whole new way. It's really something else, man. It's unlike anything else.
Yeah, just make sure you have the place to yourself. It's like Chris Hanney here said, my first Soundself experience was at E3. Pretty sure 100 people heard me chanting into the universe. But holy cow, so worth it. Yeah, it is. It is funny.
Chris is also an angel. Have you guys had Chris on the show?
We have.
Yeah.
Okay. I need to go watch your episode, Chris.
Yeah, you know, that is one of the cool things about the Between Realities VR podcast is that every guest that we have brings something so unique that even if the episode is like a year or two old, wait, did I say that right? Yeah, I did. A year or two old, it's still worth it to like go and listen to it if you are interested in who our guest was, because we oftentimes get into their personal life, you know, who they are and like what makes them tick. And then, you know, if we can get around to it, we maybe talk about something that's like really topical and like important for today and now. But for the most part, I feel like all of our episodes kind of stand the test of time. So definitely go check out our episode with Chris Hanney. It's quite good.
Yeah.
And you have an archive, which is another thing I talk about a lot with community, is do an archive. It doesn't matter if it's perfect. Do not let perfection be the enemy of your progress. Just a little blurb. You know, if you do it every week, after 15 weeks, then you have something quite substantial. So
yeah, we've got over 3 years of Between Realities episodes now, and probably close to like 150 different guests, all from within the space, and all amazing, incredible people.
And you can't start perfect. I mean, you just there are things that you just have to learn doing the thing. So start your journey, and eventually it'll get better and better. I mean, go back and look at season 1 of Between Realities.
I watched the first episode, or like the first half of the first episode recently.
Did you?
Yeah, it's like, you can tell that we hadn't done it yet.
Yeah.
I still like to think we did a pretty okay job for our first episode. But
first season was was a little rough, but that was the learning part, right? Like you can't know all the things that are going to go wrong that you need to fix and tweak until you're doing it. You just can't.
I mess up all the time. I mean, I've worked with Skiva on a lot of projects, and I've told him something, like, I tell people all the time, if something's wrong, please don't assume malice. It's probably me. I probably messed it up. I probably forgot something. You know what I mean? And like, a lot of times and in VR especially, a lot of times it's the first time you're doing something.
Yeah.
We are solving problems that nobody's ever encountered before. How do you show where you are in VR? How do you even know where the wall is? How do you know what inventory looks like? We're all kind of emulating what we know before, but nobody's ever done these things. Nobody's ever had to deal with occlusion. Nobody's ever had to deal with hand tracking. Nobody knows like what's going to work and what's not. And then you see something that somebody else has done, and you're like, holy, wow, that's it, right? Like that's the thing that we've been missing. But I just think about Nintendo. Right? Like they are the best story with the Wii U, and you have to fail. You absolutely have to fail to find success. So
yeah, absolutely. I mean, like you said, you said it really well. This is cutting edge technology. This is brand new stuff. There is no one else to go. Like if you have an accounting company or something, right? You can go back and look at the hundreds of years of people doing that, and you can kind of figure out a best practice. But there isn't that here, especially. When you started, I would even say it's even worse because like there's things like I know that we need AR first, and we need like a lower hardware lift. Like I don't even wear my glasses, and I need them to see, but I hate wearing something on my face. I put the headset on because I am obsessed with VR, but I know that most people will not do it. Right? Like they're not going to do it. But I also know that the hardware cannot go in that order. We have to start this way. We have to go backwards to getting to the point where we can actually put the processor into it's a very loud car out there, put the processor into a much smaller unit and like get glasses so that people can actually see around them. I think once people are able to experience VR in a way where they're not completely blinded and they're not cut off trying to figure out controllers, and like you said, vulnerable, right? Like you feel really vulnerable in a headset. If we can give them glasses and they can see around them and they have a HUD and it makes sense and they can look at the controllers and they understand it, and then somebody invites them into a VR experience, way more likely to go into that. But it's frustrating when you're waiting on the hardware, right? You see something that you want to happen and you have to wait. I feel so bad for the people that have been waiting for the same thing we're waiting for since the 90s, because they exist. They're mad. Yeah, but I mean, we didn't start with the PlayStation 5. We started with like Pong and the Atari 2600.
I would even say we started with the Sensorama.
Yeah,
right? Like
that's super old school. Yeah, absolutely. But you can't come in with something just incredibly perfect right off the bat. The iPhone wasn't the first smartphone. Do you know what I mean? We had a lot of garbage before that.
Yeah.
So it takes a lot of smart people, years of trying, succeeding, failing, trying new things, exploring different avenues. You can't just go right to the thing. Everything is ever evolving, and I'm glad we were here from the beginning. Beginning of video games, beginning of VR. I mean, it's what a place to be. I can't believe we get to make
game. Like, oh my, I'm glad I did pharmacy for so long because it like gave me so much perspective. Because like no matter what happens, we make games, right? Like, when
I can relate to
that. When I made a mistake in the pharmacy, like I was always like, oh no, did I harm a child? Like that was where my brain went. That never happens in games. It's like things can go very wrong, and we can make big mistakes, and things might slide, and maybe we don't launch, or maybe players are disappointed. But generally speaking, this is the best thing in the world to be able to do. Like, holy moly, we should be having fun.
Yeah.
Games are sick.
Help people have play.
I know.
Games are amazing. Games are my favorite thing. I would rather do games than anything.
There's a lot of times where like I'm out in the wild and I'm talking to people I have nothing to do with video games. And, what do you do for a living? And I tell them, and you either get the oh, and then they move on, and I'm like, yep, that's not my people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or you get the people that are like, oh my
That is the
God,
coolest thing ever.
You know what I mean? Like, yeah, that's what's up. That's what's up. So,
Quick hello to Full Dive Gaming, the VR podcast. Good to see you.
up?
And somebody's ears were ringing. Anna Byrne.
Hey, Anna.
Hi, Anna Byrne.
How are you?
I was talking about you.
Yeah.
We all were.
We all were. You were actually up on our screen there for a little bit. Again.
Yes, not the first time. So you know, we've kind of been talking about like the mindful and transformative abilities of virtual reality. You know, obviously in the context of Soundself, but you know, I'm someone who has definitely been molded by hallucinogenic experiences in my life, and when I got into VR, I started to realize that like there were quite a few parallels there. And that I personally, honestly believe that the ultimate potential of our this technology that we're talking about is to help, the creator of Soundself said, people unlock and like wake up and kind of like realize that they're there and like have like this moment of like self-awareness that doesn't typically happen like on the day-to-day. Do you think that I might be onto something, Ashley? It feels like that we might be cut from the same cloth here.
Oh, I mean, yeah, absolutely. I think that one of the things that VR does really well, and I wish that we'd stop, I don't wish we'd stop just putting the same games into VR, but what VR does well is it makes things impossible possible in a way that is really visceral and real. And this can be two different ways. I talked about this in my XR talk at Reboot. But one, it can put you into situations, you know, some of the first clinical trials or clinical studies done on, you know, efficacy of XR and treating clinical applications of XR was on acrophobia, which is a fear of heights. And so putting people into a situation and exposing them to this and allowing them to be safe in a headset in a room, but there was the first thing that they found was really effective. Also, I wonder if Richie's Plank experience knew that. I always want to ask them if anybody from Toast is in the chat. I want to know if that's where it came from this first study in like 1996. But also like things like acrophobia or agoraphobia and things like that, right? Like putting spiders in your space, because while you're vulnerable, there's a certain level of safety that allows you to push yourself that maybe you wouldn't be able to do in a real setting. And in that same way, it also allows us to escape realities that perhaps are unbearable. You know, there are also therapeutic solutions like Snow World, which is, you know, a very immersive experience for children or for anybody going through like treatment for burns. And burn treatments are incredibly painful. They're very hard to treat with medication. Opioids don't work very well on them, and they're highly addictive, and you can build up a tolerance. But when you put somebody in a headset, you know, experiencing pain requires cognitive thought. It requires you to think about it and be present. VR can take you away from that. And I would take it even a step further and think about, you know, places where you're in poverty and you don't have access to healthcare, you don't have access to travel, going to cultural sites, going to places to invoke empathy in people and teach them about each other. I think it can unlock so much for us, not just internally with ourselves, but you know, with each other, you know, socioeconomically, like empathetically, and I think in the future as well, when we open up the biological and the biometric data that happens in real time, we will be able to tap into even more empathetic experiences. You'll be able to know how people feel, if somebody's sad, if somebody's angry, and, you know, help or tap into that in some way. So no, I think you're definitely onto something. I think that is one of the most powerful things VR does, is it lets you do things that you couldn't normally do. And I implore developers to look at like what really works in clinical applications and think about that in their games before they're just like, hey, let's put an FPS in here. Because yeah, you can do that, but you can also do a lot of really cool, really visceral, really unlocking of, you know, really deep elements of the human psyche. It's cool stuff.
Mm-hmm. And like from like the simplest perspective that I can really think to put this in, you know, and I think like where I do see like the primary parallel between virtual reality and something like a hallucinogenic drug experience is the fact that it completely can give you an opportunity to challenge what you know about reality. Like when I've done some of these hallucinogenic experiences, I had all of these insane epiphanies. I'm like, oh my God, no way. Like that's it's been sitting in front of me this whole time and I never saw it. And it just gave me this perspective on the experience that we're having that we call reality that completely sent me back to the drawing board, And I think VR inherently has that ability just purely by the nature of what the technology is. I mean, it's designed to manipulate your sensory perception input, and the experience that we're all having right now is a sensory perception one. So there's a lot more that we interpret outside of our sensory perception experience, and that's a whole different philosophical discussion. But by hijacking our sensory perception input, we can completely tell the brain that something else is happening than what, or you start to exist in multiple places. Like, this is where the Between Realities name really comes from, because while you're standing in the headset, are you standing in your living room, or are you standing on a platform slicing blocks, or are you in both, or are you somewhere in between? That's really why I love the name Between Realities so much, because it kind of implies that ability to challenge reality just by putting a headset on. Does that resonate with you? Absolutely.
And I also wonder if you're one of the people that gets severely immersed. And so when I first started playing, I can't look down, or like when I was doing After the Fall, I have to open the headset to jump over heights because it's so unbelievably immersive to me. And I thought it would get better over time. And when I would play Beat Saber, I can't walk off the platform because it's too much for me. I get so immersed, and I almost feel like it's cheating, because it's whole, I need everybody in the headset to know, right? That's why I started doing what I'm doing. And I need to put the headset on people and put them in experiences and let them try it. And I think that you're exactly right, because it immerses you. And I mean, there's danger to that too, right? Because we can tap into these psychological triggers, and we can see when people really like stuff, and we can create things that really tap into their reward systems and make them never want to leave the experience. But we can also challenge their perceptions, right? We can lead them through practices that have existed for millennia, that are tried and true. There's meditative practices. That's why these apps do so well, right? And we can bring them into a headset, and you can control it in a way where you are controlling everything, right? You're controlling sound, presence, what they see, what they hear. Eventually, hopefully, we will even have haptics that we're wearing, where you're controlling physical stimulation elsewhere. And at that point, it becomes, when do you tell the difference? Will you be able to know? That's what I want. I want to be able to not tell whether or not I'm in experience or if I'm in my room. That scares a lot of people, but I've actually always felt more comfortable in a digital realm. I've always had my online self. I've always had Ashley Riott. I've been Ashley Riott for a long time. That's my byline in games and on the PlayStation blog and all of that. And so I've always felt like I have kind of this digital twin, and I feel really comfortable in that space. But I think for a lot of people, that's scary to not know whether or not it's real or not.
This is why I see another parallel with dreams, because I think we already do it. And Ben Lang even touches on that in our intro of our show, where he's talking about our brain already having the ability to do this. And it does it every single night when we go to bed. Every single night you go to bed, you are transported to another realm that you are convinced is legit. You literally cannot tell the difference between that and your normal waking life experience. And it's only when you wake up that you can say, you can compare it, and you're like, oh, wait, that was a dream.
Yeah, or you could argue that it's happening right now. As we're sitting here right now, the way we're perceiving reality through light, through sound, through touch, but it's probably not what reality actually is. It's a combined formed version of reality to what my brain interprets it to be, and yours might be slightly different. Ashley's might be slightly different. We could be somewhere else too, with a headset on of some kind.
You see it when you do a big boss fight, or a massively intense Pop 1 match, right? Where you're really fighting, or you're the last person up, right? And you're fighting to get that match point. For brief moments in time, you can coalesce into this virtual person in this arena, and you are in that moment the one who has to be the hero for your team. And if it only happens in brief flashes, that's enough for me to say, okay, maybe someday we're going to be able to control that. And that type of experience, when you can put somebody into your character, into your protagonist, when we worked on the campaigns, having people get to the boss and they're wheezing and breathing, and they're they fought that boss.
Yeah,
that is incredible.
And that's the thing. They did.
They actually did. 100%.
Yes, they actually did. And that is not to be diminished by comparing it to your normal everyday like experience. And that's the same thing with dreams. Like, dreams are real. They happen. Like, there's evidence that it happens. You wake up in the morning and say, hey, I just had a dream where you stole my sandwiches. And I was mad. You know, like,
Skiva.
I can't believe you would do this.
I know.
But it happened.
I believe I would do that.
Sandwiches. I would steal your vegan sandwiches. We're very hungry. We're both vegan, Skiva and I.
Yep.
Yeah,
I bring him sandwiches sometimes because I know he doesn't eat.
That's very sweet of you. And for the record, if we do come to Austin and you do show up, I am leaving when it's lunchtime because I had the best barbecue I have ever had in my life in Austin, and I cannot believe that I ate at vegan restaurants for the majority of my time there. I'm ditching everyone next time I am in Texas. I don't care if I'm by myself. I'm eating that barbecue every day.
Do it.
Do it. Do it up.
Yeah,
me and Ashley will go eat some other stuff. It's fine.
I will. Yes. I want to go back to Vegas. I went to the Modern Vegan again because I was there for EDC. Oh,
man.
Oh, and I would eat there.
Best restaurant.
I would eat
there. There's and Chef Kenny's dim sum. Oh man.
Chef Kenny. Did I tell you this story?
What?
Okay,
No?
so I was there at the dim sum place.
Yeah.
For CES, and I ordered one of everything off the menu.
Yes. What? Why didn't you invite me to this?
Because I didn't know you were vegan at the time. I don't think I knew at that time, but. And so I ordered one of everything, and they were like, "Are you sure?" And so they brought us everything. And then this guy came out, and he was like, "Try this vegan fried chicken." And we tried it. It was the best fried chicken I'd ever had.
Man,
and we were joking. We were like, "Man, that was probably Chef Kenny." Well, then I went back for EDC, and they were announcing this partnership with Chef Kenny's Fried Chicken and this local food truck, and it was the guy. Was up on the side, and I was like, holy moly, we tried this fried chicken. Like, I am now a partner in Chef Kenny. But yeah, that place is awesome.
Yeah, it really is. There is
Chef Kenny. So if you want to get hooked up, just let me know.
Let's go next CES. I love Chef Kenny's. That guy, oh man, that restaurant is just so good.
Yeah, he actually, I guess, lives in Vegas, but we were just joking because that place is in Houston as well.
It is?
So I figured it was like a franchise. Yeah, and I didn't think he would be there, but it was the guy.
Wow, that's pretty cool. I took Eric Masher there too. Mash Daddy Cool from Q2C, and he's like, "Wow, I can't even believe this."
He choked it down.
I can't believe it.
He didn't choke it down. He was like, "This is some of the best." He's like, "This is one of the best meals I've ever had."
By the airport, if you're ever in Vegas, to stop by. It looks dead because they've got the blackout because it's hot in Vegas, but it is the best food.
It is. It's so good, so good.
Okay, so small side story.
Veraza, the hell does vegan fried chicken mean?
Yeah. What is it like? Is it like usually like a pea protein?
Yeah, something. I don't know. It's
he doesn't even know.
All I know.
Doesn't care. It's like, as long as it's not an actual animal, I don't give a shit.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
And don't worry, Jasmine, we didn't forget about you. We know that you're vegan and vegetarian and all of that, and you eat at the hippie places with these guys.
Jasmine has taken me to some dang good places too. She really has.
Jasmine's local. Yep. She's a California local.
Yep.
She knows the spots.
That she does.
She'll sneak off. She sneaks off and she comes back and she's had a shower because she just went home. And I'm like, you're so lucky. He looks so great. Anytime we go to an event in California.
Okay, listen. We're gonna start to wind this up.
Oh, do we have to? Come on, man.
Well,
come on, Dad.
Technically, no. Technically, no. But we're gonna start to. But I am curious, Ashley. If knowing what you know about VR, being as involved as you are in this space, knowing the content so well, knowing the hardware so well, if you had a dear friend who had never tried virtual reality before and they were like, hey, I need you to show me how to do this, I need to have a good experience, what hardware are you using and what experience are you using to ensure that they join our ranks as a VR lover?
Oh, that's a really good question. I get asked this all the time, actually. I used to do this thing where I would go on a quest. I would go to, when I was doing Twitch, I would go to events and do a quest for quests, and I would bring my quest and just put people in the headset. And so it kind of depended on the event I was at. So if I was at a Star Wars convention, I'd put them in Vader Immortal. I tend to default to the Quest because it is such a great headset. You can bring it anywhere. I'm traveling around. Usually I'm at conventions when I'm getting people to try the headset. I play a lot on my Quest Pro. I really like it. It is very easy to wear all of the time. My favorite personal headset that I wear is my Index. If I'm playing VR at home, and playing games. I've got an index, I've got HTC trackers so I can do full body tracking. I've got a bed in my play space so I can lay out and do the VR chat thing. I sleep in VR. So I like the long time. People at work when we're QAing, they're like, I can wear it for 30 minutes. And I'm like, yeah, me too. I'm also a normal person, but I will do that. But I love the Quest 2 for like demoing and just showing people VR. It's so simple. If it's somebody like brand new to VR, like older person, safety is always the most important thing to me. Stop putting people into stuff just so that you could watch them fall. It's so horrible. Don't do that. So first steps I'll actually use. If it's somebody that isn't older or I'm not as worried about, I put them in Richie's Plank experience. I think that's such a great, easy, this is how awesome this is. Look what it makes you feel.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, that's generally my go-to.
Richie's.
Yeah, Richie's right away. You got to remember, people that you're putting, I mean, you know this, but when you're putting people in headset, they are bad. They can basically do one button and walk 2 steps.
Yep.
That's what you got to be able to prepare them to do.
Yeah, I mean, you can't see the buttons on your controllers because your eyes are covered with a screen, so it can be a little challenging. That's why Beat Saber is so great. You literally just swing in the thing. You don't have to hit anything.
Yeah.
So.
If I will always ask too, have you heard of Beat Saber? If that's like their point of reference, I will start them in that just because that's what they want to see and that's what they've heard of. It's also great, right? Like it's such a simple one. Pistol Whip is not that great to start people on. It is not a good intro experience. I've tried that one. Audio Troop isn't either. It's a little bit hard. So like, let me just be fair to both games, the current and the past, because you really want difficulty creep is a real thing and you get really good at games really fast and you don't realize how good you are. So you always need to go simpler. But yeah, it's if somebody is asking me, hey, I want to get VR and I'm looking for games, what should I get? That varies too. I always will ask people, what do you like? What do you play in real life? And like, are you traveling a lot? Do you have a PC? And I only mention this because it used to be 5 years ago, I'd say like Index or, whatever that would be it. But now there's other options, which I think is really cool.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not a black and white question. I see that question on Twitter a lot. What's your go-to for putting a new player into VR? And everyone has their go-tos. It's like, I always put them in this. For me, it's always been know your audience. Are they an experienced gamer? Have they done any kind of immersive stuff before in a VR arcade or anywhere else? Do they like to shoot stuff? Are they a rhythm game? Like, there's just so 100%. Many things. You just got to know your audience and give them the best possible experience. I know it's tempting to put someone in a roller coaster and laugh as they freak out, but let's not do that. We gotta have everyone have the best experiences possible so they're sold on the tech and they don't walk around going, oh, VR is not for me. I got motion sick. Someone put me in this terrible experience, right? And do the right thing.
To that point, if you're going to use Richie's Plank experience as a first time, spot them.
Yes.
Spot them. Be there ready to catch a grown man who is going to leap for his life
or fall because they feel like they're falling.
Yes.
And then they'll fall on the floor.
Or be ready to be surprised and the only reason I know to ask and see if people are comfortable as well is because I've made mistakes, right? Like I've put people into games that they shouldn't have been in at first. And you'll be surprised sometimes because I put people into the headset, put them in Richie's and thought they were going to be horrible and they have blown me out of the water, right? So that's one of my favorite things is putting people in headset.
Yeah, you never know. I mean, I think I've told this story before, but me and Alex do the Game On Expo in Phoenix, Arizona, and the first year we did it, we came with a full Richie's Plank experience with the plank, with the PC and everything, and we had this big burly biker dude and we're like, listen, guy, if it's too much, take off the headset. It's okay. We're here. Don't worry about it. And he's like, oh man, shut up, I got this. Right? He's all like this, big biker dude. And then the elevator door opens and his legs start shaking and he couldn't do it. And then right after him was this maybe 75, 80-year-old grandma. She got right in, put the headset on, hit that button, walked right out on the plank, walked right back, no problems. You just never know.
Yep.
You never know.
I love it. That's great. That is the best. I get immersed. I can't do it.
Yep. I do too.
I was playing, I was at Vertigo trying some one of the new experiences, like the multiplayer, and they were howling at me because I was on the floor scooting on the plank to go out, and it was really cool because I was with Almir from Swordsman, which is another one of our games. Great game, check it out. I was with Almir from Swordsman, and they put you on this elevator, and one goes up and one stays down. And he's like, "So are you at your thing?" And I'm like, "Just hang on." And we were talking to each other like that. And afterwards, I was like, "Were you doing that?" Because we knew we were in the same room on the same level. Yeah, but that's one of those things where you forget, like, where is the real world? And I was talking to him like he was up in the sky, and he was talking, and he said, "Yeah, actually, I was leaning over and talking down to you like you were down below me." And I was like, right?
Immersion.
Like,
it sounds like just from that experience, I know exactly where you are in Arizona sunshine VR arcade experience, and it was exactly what level you were on. But yeah,
they were howling at me because I was just like, I could not walk on that pole. Yeah. And then I was like cheating and looking down, and they were like, "Stop doing that." And I'm like, "Okay, fine." So I sat down, and they were recording it. I'm like, "Please never show anybody this footage of me scooting on the floor." Like,
oh man,
that would be worth some money today.
I know. I have some connections at Vertigo. I mean, yeah, I used to work there, so. No.
Okay, so Ashley. As we are closing in on the final moments of the show, I do want to just kind of give you one more chance to just bring something up. You know, maybe it's something that we haven't had a chance to get to that you think is important about what Andromeda is doing, or something about you personally that you want to take an opportunity to share with us. Just anything that you think is important that you maybe want to capitalize on the opportunity to bring up before we end the show.
I should have prepared for this.
I do this all the time. I just not even prepare people for it, and I just ask.
If you see me at events, I have this hair, so it's really easy for you to say hi to me or to avoid me. Up to you, but please say hello. Give me a hug. Talk to me about VR. I want to hear about your projects. If I can help you at all, I will. And if you're in the VR space, help us build the future that you want to see. Think about the platform. Sometimes it will come at the cost of profits or progress. Sometimes we're going to have to slow down. But we have to do that if it means the well-being of the platform, because I love VR, and I know all of us do. So that would be it. If you see me, say hi. Talk to me about VR, especially if we're at GDC with flat games, because I feel lonely, just like you. We're still really niche.
We are, but man, this past GDC, there was so much VR. I finally felt for the first time that we were on the way down that mainstream road. It was everywhere. And the events were huge, and there were so many people.
The iPhone moment. It's here. It's going to be here soon. Yep. So I'm faster than we think. It's happening fast. So
love it. Absolutely love it.
I definitely hope you're right.
I want to say thank you too to the audience, to everybody in the community, to you guys for inviting me, and really what you guys are doing for the community is so important. Giving people a platform, creating an archive of all of this awesome stuff. Really, thank you. And your community is amazing. So thank you all for making me feel so welcome. I made it.
Yes. Yes. A long time coming. I know this has just been like a life goal for you, so it has been an absolute pleasure to be able to provide that experience for you, Ashley Riott.
Yes, thank you.
We're very, very lucky to have you in the space. Not only are you passionate, but you are driven, and you're smart enough to do it the right way. So we are all huge fans. I will attest to that hair being noticeable at a conference. You cannot miss Ashley Riott if you do decide to show up to something. I know people are talking about Connect being in person potentially this year, so maybe that's a good opportunity. If you're out there listening and you want to meet some pink-haired people, it might be a good one there. So keep it in mind, everybody. But Ashley Riott, Andromeda Entertainment, thank you so very much for joining us today, and don't be a stranger.
Yeah.
Never. Thank you. Right. Thank you so much.
All right,
thanks,
everybody.
Guys.
Say goodbye to Ashley. Bye, Ashley.
Bye, Ashley.
Bye. And she's gone.
There she goes.
That's it.
And I screwed up this last scene, like I often do.
How many of these do you think I'm going to let you have?
I don't know. Every single time. This is the one that I will always forget to update, is this last scene here.
Well, but
next week's guest is I do.
Okay.
I do.
Well, you got to change it in real time now.
Can I? All right.
Yeah. Because it has to say something else on the screen.
It does. I mean, it would be cool to have Ashley on again next week.
We easily could. We didn't even get to the Burning Man stuff.
Oh yeah, totally.
Could easily do another hour and a half. with the incredible Ashley Riott.
Let me see if I can find.
So, yeah, you just take a moment to find that, and I'll say thank you to our audience. In the meantime, thank you all so much for tuning in to the live show on YouTube today. July 14th, 2023. We had Assassin32 and Mickyberr and Chris Hanney up in here. VR with Jasmine. Red/Ace was up in here. Laurel, J Brat hanging out for the whole show. Thank you, dude. Guido, thank you so much. Wolf Raza, THN Hammerman, dude, thank you. He says thank you. We say thank you.
Thank you.
Substatica has been up in here contributing to the conversation and getting things done. And yeah, dude, all of y'all, man.
What's up?
Thank you guys.
Thank you so much for being here.
Hussein,
we appreciate you all.
And Ashley Riott joining the Between Realities.
Yeah,
crew
nice.
As a
Very
member.
Cool. Wow.
That's what it takes right there. You want to be a true member of this community? There's your chance. $2 a month. Cough it up. It's right there. It's easy, and you can afford it. So I don't know what you're even waffling about on this decision. Sign up and become a paying member of the Between Realities community.
Or don't, and just hit the subscribe button. We'd love that too.
We'll settle for a subscription.
Yeah.
We will settle for that. So click subscribe, click the like button since you're still here. Kenzie Gaming VR, thank you, dude. And Amelia Faust, thank you for being here. Skiva.
Yes.
What are we doing next week?
Next week, we will have Zim Talk 5 from the F Reality podcast. Also, it has his own YouTube channel, was a Twitch streamer for a long time. I don't know, does he still do Twitch?
He does, and he's like one of the first VR Twitch streamers. Like, definitely one of the like out of the gates earliest, most OG VR streamers that exist.
Yeah, Zim's such a good dude. I can't wait to talk to him. Have a blast every time we get to meet up at a conference. He's just, such a sweetheart. So looking forward to having him on.
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to have a great time at Zim Talk next week. This weekend, Skiva's gaming.
Yep, I am. I will be gaming.
I'm gaming this weekend.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, we're going to game together.
We are.
We might be doing my very first ever Star Trek bridge crew.
That's
with some of our crew cast homies.
That's right.
So I'm quite looking forward to that. And then Gamertag and I have been trying to link up and make this like retro, like Emu VR experience happen. He's
that's
sharing
right
with
too.
me all of his ROMs. And just kidding.
There's no ROMs. They're all homebrew people that are donating their programming time.
So we're gonna have a good weekend. Join our Discord. In the description below, there's a link to our Discord server. Join it and maybe link up with us and play some games this week.
Yeah. Also, click on all of the guest links that are down there. We have all the different ways to get a hold of Ashley, all the ways to find out about Andromeda Entertainment, and all the cool games that they're working on. They are pioneering here in this VR space with amazing things. So make sure you check them out.
That sounds good. Wolf Raza dropping $1.99.
Thanks,
saying the best I can do. I support when I can. Great show, bro.
Thank you. Appreciate you.
I hope you all can tell the joking tone in my voice.
Yes.
I'd never want anybody to feel pressured to donate or contribute monetarily. We really appreciate it, and it means the world to us, and we have to mention it or people won't do it. But if you're in a tight spot, don't do it. Think about it. Like,
just hit subscribe because it's free. Subscribe is free.
That's it. That's all we need. And you being here and being a part of the show means the world to us. It really does. So thanks again, VR with Jasmine, Laszlo216, Anna Byrne for popping in, and Duggars K and Space Denizen. Thank you guys so much again for being a part of the show. And we will see you in a week with Zim Talk 5.
All right.
That's that.
All right.
Have a good weekend.
Later. Bye-bye.